In ancient Chinese times, two tribes known as the Dai and the Gorma were at war. The war now continues in 1993 Tokyo, Japan, and our heroes are the Dairangers, the descendants of the Dai tribe, and must use their chi powers to stop the Gorma from taking over the world. The team consists of Ryo, the Ryu Ranger, Kazu, the Kirin Ranger, Shoji, the Tenma Ranger, Daigo, the Shishi Ranger, and Dean, the Ho Ranger. And the biggest surprise is the sixth member, Ko, the Kiba Ranger, the influence of the White Ranger and Power Rangers, who is really a 9-year-old boy. The basis of the series this time is the predestined hero formula due to their ancestries. However, despite having little to no awareness until the threat arrives, they instantly recognize their responsibilities and embrace their roles. Even though the group was never acquainted prior to receiving their powers, in most cases, they tend to work very well together, and the development is more with the individual characters themselves as opposed to the relationships as it was in Jetman. I feel as a result, each character gets to show their own leadership qualities, which I think helps the group development since the characters respect each other's qualities when they have their chance to lead, and they support each other very well. The story of the series is serious and dark in its own way. Each character has their own personal obstacles that they must overcome, which is the biggest contribution to the development. Eventually, other characters will be introduced, which you get to see, and to see those characters, see this series to find out. Especially in relation to two particular mechs which were featured in Power Rangers that were taken from this season. The villains come across as silly with their get-up. They kind of look like, S&M bondage guys, but they are a very serious threat, but I do not feel they are as intimidating as the Vyram from Jetman. But I feel that they are more threatening and frightening than Bandora and her campy gang of misfits. They got their own badass brand of kung fu, and they are cruel and calculating. Some of the featured monsters go as frightening as being something of a pedophile, and, those are the real-life monsters. So I'll end this part of the review with the story and characters with a 9 out of 10. Like Zyuranger, the gimmick and nature, the characters and the powers and the action is all rooted in fantasy, but this time it's Chinese in origin. The action sequences are kung fu fighting in every sense of the word, though don't expect anything like wire fu tricks, like in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Our heroes will use wider and lower stances as seen in the arts of the Shaolin, and best of all, Kazu uses a variation of drunken kung fu. Because of the novelty of the action, it feels more fresh and original in context to the tokusatsu genre, though other succeeding series such as Geki Ranger will use intense martial arts-based action. The mech battles are more diverse in comparison to past series. You get the Ryu mech that can of course be a dragon, but it also transforms into a warrior mode. And when the other mechs combine to be Dairanger, which is the Thunder Megazord in Power Rangers, I like how the other mechs are like pieces of a samurai armor to the Ryu mech. And I also like how the Byakko is used in the same context as the Ryu. It has both a tiger mode and a warrior mode. I also like when it's in tiger mode, the Ryu mech in warrior mode can ride it like it's a horse. And of course there will be other additions like the turtle that you may remember as Tor in Power Rangers called Daimugen and Dairanger. And I promise once you get to see it you'll get a kick out of, the twist behind that. So I give the action another 9 out of 10. The music, especially the opening theme, appropriately reflects the Chinese atmosphere with the tempo and percussions. I also feel it captures the intensity of this series as well. Thankfully, there are no strange musical numbers pulled by the villains, but there is an episode where Rin becomes a pop idol, and her image song I found to be quite excellent. And the ending theme, of course, is nothing too different from the opening theme, so I'll leave the music a perfect 10 out of 10. I feel overall in conjunction with Jetman, to really make full circle character development to work, I think heroes need to receive their powers either, by a certain kind of twist of fate or uncontrollable circumstances. In other words, people who just don't really come across as heroes. With Zyuranger and Ohranger, they're heroes by choice, and they have a professional understanding of the responsibilities they have, and that makes character development really not so necessary, but I feel an Ohranger, which I will review at a later time, does find ways to make up for this lacking quality. I like how Dairanger, the characters all have their own personal obstacles in which they both conquer alone, and with the help of their teammates. Like Ryo has this rivalry with his badass karate fighter named Jin, and there is Daigo's longing to save and profess his love to Kujaku, this strong female warrior. Then there's also Shoji's complicated relationship with these monsters from the Gorma side. And some of their qualities are kind of cliche, especially Ryo and Jin's rivalry as martial artists, but that you can see in any kung fu movie. But I feel with their chemistry as rivals and the quality of the action, their fights, and makes it, pretty fresh. And for that, I give Dairanger an overall score of a 9.25 out of 10.